Normally at this point in the night, I wouldn't be sticking around. With the house lights about to come on, I'd find a desperate, ugly chick to lick my wounds and split. But you've been a pebble in my shoe since the very beginning, and now I just don't think I can walk away. Guess what I'm thinking right now? That you've overshared? Welcome back to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priests, a weekly podcast where movie enthusiasts, ex-movie theater projectionists, new and old friends take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this?
What do you know about the Sierra program?
Reckless mystery man you guys send in when you can't officially send anyone else.
The Gray Man.
You must be Lloyd.
What gave it away?
The trash stash. It leans Lloyd.
I'm about to put a hit so big on your boy's head that even his most loyal allies won't hesitate to drop a dime. I can kill anybody. Maybe not anybody.
All right, man. Welcome back. Dan Sakulich for part 2 of The Gray Man.
Looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to part 1, go now and do that now because we're spoiler zone. Let's get into popcorn trivia.
Let me tell you something, Pandeo.
All right, I have a couple of good ones, I think. Chris Evans originally was considered for the lead role, but he declined to play the villain. What do you think about that?
Unfortunate.
Really?
I could have done without Chris Evans, period.
Like not have him at all is what you're saying. Because I'm glad that he declined the lead role because we got Ryan Gosling.
Agreed.
Who would you want to play
I wish
the
he would
villain?
have declined altogether. Honest to God, anybody but
Anybody.
him. He was so awful. Bad.
You know,
like his cheesy, it didn't even come off as cheesy. It wasn't even antagonistic. Like he was supposed to be douchey, so douchey that you just wanted to see him get beat up. And I didn't find him unlikable. I didn't find him likable. I just found him irrelevant.
I didn't mind
so
him.
Bad.
I did feel like it felt like he's like, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to play Captain America right now. And he was just, all of his pent up frustration of playing that for so long came into this performance, I think.
Yeah, it felt miscast, man. It didn't feel right with him. He didn't carry the energy. Like I said, I didn't feel antagonized by him at all. At all. Like if I was on the phone with him and he was saying these types of things, I would have just hung up. Not even listened to stuff.
Just hung
it was
up,
bad.
yeah. Well, we talked about...
But still good trivia. Good to know.
Yeah, good to know. We talked about last week that Wagner Maura's in this film. Maura. He, I think he could have played an awesome villain.
Oh, he's great. And I would have loved to have seen more of him on this. I mean, we just had that small little segment of him, and I would have loved to see more of him and Billy Bob.
Yeah, I wanted more Billy Bob too. I'm glad you brought that up because he didn't have enough, and I was surprised at how many people got killed in this film.
Well, yeah. Like, here's my thing though with Billy Bob. Well, maybe I'll hold this later for popcorn beefs.
Okay. All right. Some more popcorn trivia. Brad Pitt was attached to be the lead, but I don't know why he didn't play it. But maybe he wanted to do his Bullet Train movie instead. But I
got to be honest. I think Pitt would have been great.
Yeah, I think he would have done a great job too. I do.
Just because I think about him in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like, it seems like the same type of character.
Yeah. You know what's funny? So he's in this movie called The Lost City, and he's only in it for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe less, maybe 8 minutes. But he does this really great, like nonchalant, like CIA agent type guy. And he's amazing in that. But so I think he could have pulled it off for sure.
He could have pulled it off. I agree.
But I do think that Ryan Gosling plays it much differently, and I do like what he did with the role.
Agreed. I love Gosling in this.
Another trivia point that's quite evident in the film, but Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans were both encouraged to improvise their lines. Their first character face-to-face meeting was completely improvised, and it shows. It's like I don't know. They're not that great at improvising.
No, it just didn't feel good. I wanted so much more out of two characters and a lot less out of one.
I don't know. It didn't bother me too bad, but I could tell like
it just felt like they were trying too hard.
More Chris Evans than Gosling though. For sure. Oh,
without a doubt.
Speaking of Chris Evans, his first day of filming, he accidentally hit Gosling in the face with a prop gun. Oops.
You know about prop guns these days, huh?
Oh, man. Jeez, dude.
Too soon.
The last trivia point I have is the final battle of the film is filmed at the Chateau de Chantilly, north of Paris. This location was also used for the World War I first-person shooter video game Battlefield 1 for the map Ballroom Blitz. Even though the chateau was never involved in any actual battles during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, the film does stage a battle sequence throughout the location that closely resembles the multiplayer match in Battlefield 1. I've never played Battlefield 1, but this sounds awesome.
I played it just a couple times. Yeah, I played it just a couple times. It's actually a really cool game, but I didn't know about that.
That location was awesome.
It's an incredible place, clearly.
Like the shots of the place, it looked fake. It looked like it wasn't real. It was so cool.
No, it looks huge.
Huge. The one thing that I thought about was there was so much money back in those times. The rich just had immense amounts of wealth.
I mean, is it very different than today?
Well, I guess it's a little different where they can. I mean, that was a big display of like wealth, a big flex of wealth.
Yeah, but you got to figure. Back then, you didn't have the ability to have 5 houses on 5 continents, right?
Yeah, true.
Like the super rich do today. So they put all their money into this one gaudy house, and it's incredible. I mean, what a place.
Yeah, great.
I would love to live there.
I mean, I wouldn't love to maintain it or clean it or any of that, but yeah.
No, it is huge, though.
Yeah, I love the locations. I loved the whole different locales that they go to, which is quite a bit actually. It was almost overwhelming to be honest. That how many places they move to, but yeah, it was cool. And let's get into beefs.
Let's do it.
Where's the beef? Hey, where's the beef?
So I only have 3 beefs. Look, this movie is not going to reward you for looking deep into some life of evolving meaning, but that's okay with me.
Agreed.
So my beef, I guess my beef is that people, were hating on it so much. It's just like, dude, it's not supposed to be Schindler's List. Like,
I mean, yeah, couldn't you have meant like the Gladiator or something? Why go to Schindler's List?
I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my mind that was probably well lauded and had lots of awards. But like, it's not going to reward you for that. It's just
no.
So that's my beef. Another beef. I really don't have a lot of beefs. At first, I didn't like the deputy director, the guy who his name is Avik San, but he did a good job too. So he made me want to hate him. So I guess I don't know. I didn't have a ton of beefs.
I feel the same way about that guy as I do about Chris Evans.
Yeah, but that guy was probably better than Chris Evans.
It was
More subdued.
Yes.
Like I hated that guy because he was just a dick. But Chris Evans was. But I don't know. I didn't hate him as much as you did. But I mean, if I had to really break it down, I would have liked to have seen a little more Ana de Armas. She's like my most favorite to look at these days.
I feel like I need less of her unless they were going to give her some substance or some role to play. I didn't understand what she was doing.
Yeah, she was like the handler, right? I don't know what you call her.
I guess the handler. I don't know. Like, I didn't understand her role in this whole thing.
She was just like basically almost like she was in the last James Bond, where she like was a local like plant where she could help him get what he needs and like, you know, get him set up for what his op is.
Look, I know you have one more beef, and we'll get to that. And
no, that was my last beef.
I'm going to recommend that everybody watch this. There's no reason that you shouldn't, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have made this just like an out of this world awesome movie. I think this had a lot of potential to be that. It just fell so short. Like, it's not something that I would ever own. No.
Do you like? I would own all of the Mission Impossible movies, but not this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't you think that's the gauge of a good movie? Like, I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, unless they come out with a sequel, I might rewatch it. But like, yeah, I'm not. I'm definitely rewatching Mission Impossible like many times.
Right, but like even if even when the sequel comes out for this, I won't watch it again because I remember how I feel. Yeah, I remember how I feel watching it, and it's like, you know, I don't really need that. I don't need to be reminded of everything that it's missing and hope that they put a few more pieces together in the sequel. So yeah. I just feel like they could have done better. Chris Evans was terrible. I wish that Billy Bob Thornton would have played a more calm character. Like, so you're supposed to be this bad CIA guy, and you get 2 fingernails pulled out, and you're singing like a bird. What are we talking about?
That was a
here?
Weird scene, right?
Yeah, you're giving up the location to man. Like they were connecting a lot of dots really, really easily. So that was absolutely one that I couldn't understand. And then at the end, the lone wolf, he says, have no honor. Like, you're a hitman. You kill people. Like,
yeah, dude.
Where's honor in death? There's no honor in death. Like, what are we talking about here?
No, he's literally. I mean, the show's called The Gray Man. The person that's like has no identity and kills people. Like, that's the whole point of this movie.
Right. So that's why I say I feel like they could have done so great. Like, the Italian Job is one where you watch the Italian Job, and if they could have drawn a few more parallels to the Italian Job, I think it would have been much better. Like, they could have built up the characters instead of had so many damn fight scenes, the same fight scenes over and over. So those are my beefs.
Couple of comments to what you just said. One, FYI, I know I'm not a CIA trained agent, far from it, but if someone's like, hey, I'm going to pull some of your nails out, I instantly would be like, this is where the guy is. He's over here. He's over. I'm not getting my nothing pulled, bro. A tooth pulled or a finger cut off. I'm instantly like, he's over there. I'm just telling this guy, hey, he's over here. I'm not letting anyone touch my skins, my fingers.
Not only that, but yeah, why wait for 2? Like, after you get the first one pulled, aren't you at that point like, I'm not going to go through that again, so here he is. But instead you go 2 nails down and then are you like flexing? Like, I can take another one. Go ahead.
Like, I don't ever understand. There's a movie that I love called Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. And there's a scene in there where a guy gets like 4 of his fingers just chopped off by Denzel, and he cauterizes it with the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
Bro, Really? You're gonna let him decapitate all of your fudging fingers? You don't have any more
and
fingers.
still don't talk.
And you're like one finger. I'm less than that. I'm like, yeah, he's on this street. Like, I don't know.
Like, at least do the math really quick and be like, yeah, I'm not getting out of this one. They got my niece, which is, again, like, come on, the niece. You really need to pull a person in like that, and then just a small little backstory where I didn't quite feel the connection.
He already gave him up once. Remember when he was in the car and he basically killed him, tried to kill him.
Right.
He gave him up immediately. Like, that was.
He called his guys and said, "Kill him."
Yeah, go ahead and kill him.
And then he comes back in like they're best friends.
Yeah.
And when he finally finds them in that chateau, so like,
that was weird.
Again, turn your brain off.
Correct.
Watch this movie for what it is and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But please keep your expectations in check, because it is going to fall super short if you've got high expectations.
Correct.
So I think that's the important piece. Like, to tell listeners is, look, just temper your expectations. It's
fine.
It's basically The Expendables.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like an Expendables, but with not so old of actors.
Exactly. That's
right. But here's another comment to what you were saying. Do you think that the Russo brothers, the reason why it's probably not as good as it could be, that they were also like tired of making Marvel movies, and they're just like, okay, we're going to do whatever we want, and let's put all the thing, like, it's like when you get a ice cream sundae, if you put everything on it, you can't taste anything. It just becomes so sweet and lame. Like, you can only do a couple of toppings before that becomes uneatable. I feel like these guys were just like, we don't have any executive people breathing down our necks anymore. We're just going to do whatever we want. And they did, and it kind of got a little out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, like, if you watch any of the Marvel movies, it's the same movie every 15 minutes. And that's what this was.
It's pretty impressive what they did to get to the end game and Infinity War. Pretty crazy. Like, that can never happen again. Like, ever in our whole lifetime.
I actually think that it can and
no
should,
way, dude.
Just with more originality.
You can see why it can't do that, because in this phase 4 or whatever after the Infinity War, it's like so many duds, and they've just were churning out kind of mediocre stuff. But before, it was just so calculated.
But that's why they're duds. So outside of the origination movie, every other movie is the same movie every 15 minutes.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Marvel, so
I can't do Marvel. I can't watch any of them.
All right.
I tried so hard. But this movie, back to this movie.
Okay. I'm just talking about the Russo brothers, because they were such high profile Marvel directors that I thought maybe they just put too much crap in this. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you know some of their other movies, but for me, it just feels like they lack a whole heck of a lot of depth. I don't think they really understand character connection. I don't know. It was just, it was really tough on me, because I feel like it should have been so much better, but it just wasn't.
Yeah. Let's get into puzzles.
A sphincter says what? What? A sphincter says what? What? Exactly.
I only have 3 puzzles, and one you brought up earlier that this is a novel, so it's based on a book written by Mark Greaney, who has taken over the Tom Clancy books, the Jack Ryan series. Mark has 5 novels in the Gray Man saga to date. First of all, someone just took over Tom Clancy's books? That's weird.
Like, you just said that to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, is he no longer,
like, did he die
with us?
I don't know. Like, that's why it's a puzzle. I read that and I was like, wait, so there's 5 Gray Man books. Also, he's writing the Jack Ryan series, because Tom Clancy's like, I'm out, or is he dead? Like, I don't know.
Huh.
Anyway,
that is
puzzle.
very interesting.
I didn't look it up, so sorry. You have to figure that out yourself, listeners. The next one is when Lloyd Hansen, Chris Evans, is first on the call with Six, he refers to Fitzroy, Billy Bob, as his COS. C-O-S. In the CIA, I didn't know what that was. This refers to a given operative's chief of station. While some chief of station are over geographic areas and typically work out of American embassies overseas, a chief of station can also be the executive over a particular program. So Fitzroy's station is the Sierra program. So I didn't know that. It was a puzzle.
Interesting. Now it makes sense.
I went a little deeper. It's probably boring, but Carmichael is the DO, which is the Deputy Director of Operations, also called the Clandestine Service, which manages literal spies in the field as well as paramilitary operations and liaisons with special operations assets in the military.
Man, it's scary to think about how far the tentacles of the CIA go.
Yeah, and especially like internally. Like
yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Icky.
Yeah, and like I know all the trope of like the CIA agent who's just power hungry and just does whatever he wants. I kind of feel like that like happens all the time.
I mean, based on what the FBI is doing these days, I probably agree with you, man. Like,
you better be careful.
Who's actually navigating this ship?
I don't know, man. We better be careful if anyone's listening. Another thing that I didn't know, the CIA also has a deputy director who is just under the director, and the deputy director with specific portfolios for science and technology, analysis, formerly called intelligence, digital innovation, and support. So those are my puzzles that I kind of solved right now.
Who do you think holds more power, like our president or the head of the CIA?
No, bro. It's probably those guys or the people who are in the Senate and the House of Representatives. They get with the lobbyists and all the money and everything that's just paying for stuff, votes and stuff.
Icky.
Yeah, there's no way.
Icky.
Like our president is not as powerful as he once was, and the prestige is for sure gone after. I'll just stop there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other puzzles you had with the film before we get into our last category, redemption?
I guess the only other puzzle was why the maze? why the maze at the chateau?
What?
You know what I'm talking about? The maze at the end.
There were maids?
Maze.
Oh, the maze.
M-A-Z-E.
I thought you said maids. I was like, oh, I didn't remember any maids cleaning up after.
No.
The maze.
If you're going to bring in a maze, like at least use it a little bit more.
Yeah, it was really quick. Like he found him immediately. It was like the easiest
And then
maze.
he was like, go find this lady. Go find her, right? I'm going to stay here and fight this guy. You go. And like, I would have loved to have just had them cut back out for just like 15 seconds while they're fighting to watch this poor girl try to get her way out of the maze.
She's like, okay, I got to always stay to my right.
Just quickly span out and then bring the camera back down on her where she's frustrated and crying and like, I can't get out of here. And then drop it back out and back into them fighting. It would have been funny for me. But that's the only, just because maze and puzzles are similar.
I do love mazes, man, in movies. I have to admit, like,
yeah,
the maze in Harry Potter is the best. I love the maze in The Shining is the best. Oh. Mazes are good, but this one wasn't as utilized as it could have been.
Right.
Yeah. I felt like they were just at the end and they're like, okay, again, it's more ice cream toppings. It's like, well, dude, there's a maze over here. Let's shoot a couple scenes in there. Okay, that sounds cool. Like,
Right.
yeah. Instead of like thinking it through and like, how does this further the story? It's just like, it was dope. Let's just use the maze. Yeah, that's all.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, let's get into redemption.
I have exorcised the demons.
All right, as always, redemption is where we, regardless of whether we like the movie or not, we talk about things that we liked so that we always end on a good note, because I like to be a positive priest, okay?
Yes.
I have a couple of redemptions. One is, and this is actually a trivia point as well, but around the 1 hour, 13 minute mark, Chris Evans' character says $10 million to the first person who puts a bullet in that Ken doll's head. And I really like that because Gosling just finished filming Barbie, where he plays Ken. I thought it was hilarious.
That does look. There were a couple of one-liners from Evans that I could at least like smile at. So
Yeah.
wasn't completely bad. I just wish he would have done better.
You know
Be
what
better,
I
Evans.
was thinking about, and this makes me not like Chris Evans' character even more, but they joke about his stash, but you know where they did a better antagonist with the stash was in Mission Impossible with Henry Cavill's character. He was the better douche with the stash.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, no.
Okay. I don't even know if I should admit this on this podcast.
You haven't watched Fallout? Mission Impossible
Brother,
Fallout?
Brother, I have not seen a single Mission Impossible.
No, dude. Zero? Not even the first one?
Bro. Not even the first one, man.
I don't even believe this. I am, my mind is blown, bro.
I know, dude. I don't know why I've never seen any of them.
Is there a reason? Like, do you hate good
you
movies?
know I love Tom Cruise. You know I love Tom Cruise because we talked about, I've made reference to a very infamous argument with my father about Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise. He's
This
probably
is
my
the
favorite
biggest
actor.
revelation of all time about you.
I've never seen one of them.
Bro, you need to watch all of, well, maybe not the second one or the third one. There's one that was directed by John Woo that's kind of weird, but they're all really great, man, especially the last
I know
two.
they are.
Bro.
And here's another 007, James Bond. I've only seen bits and pieces of a couple of the movies.
I have no words. I just have no words, especially from a guy
I've
who
never
loves
seen him.
Tom Cruise so much. It's insane to me.
I know, dude. I've always meant to, but I just something has always
you know what
gotten
we
in the
should
way.
do? We should watch all of these in sequence with a person who's never watched them before. It would be insane.
I've never seen them, not a single one of them.
Let's think about that. That might be a crazy series of movie reviews of should you watch this?
Man, but I can't be the only one that's never seen Mission Impossible.
I mean, you're very few. Maybe like Uncle Chuck, who, you know, is on a ranch in Montana. Like, I mean,
I'm going to ask my wife if she's seen them.
I guarantee you she's seen at least one. There's 5.
At least one. See, and I was going to say how many is there. So that's how detached I am from it. I don't even know how many there are. Like with James Bond, depending on with Daniel Craig, I think I know that there's 4.
Okay, I was wrong. There's 6, and there will be
There's 6 Mission Impossibles?
Yeah, and there's one more coming out, and they filmed them. It's a 2-parter, so they filmed them back to back. Well, one movie split into 2.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah, dude, I've never seen them. Not a single one.
they are amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a bigger revelation than you having. Oh no, you saw Top Gun.
I
That's
did
right.
see Top Gun, and
But you didn't like it.
I
You
didn't
still
like
don't
it. I did give it
Yeah.
a little higher rating than my original rating, but still don't like
Right.
it. But the Maverick was, Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. It's very good.
But no, I think what we should maybe look into Mission Impossible.
I mean, maybe we do dusk till dawn, from dusk till dawn, just so we can get that out of our brains. But I feel like this might be it, dude. It's so good. I can't, man.
Well, From Dusk Till Dawn is such a cult classic too.
And I haven't seen
we've
it.
got to get a cult classic hit.
And you have only parts of it, right?
Parts, just minor parts of it. Yep.
All right. Anything else that we missed before we say goodbye?
No, man. I think we've done it justice. I think we've been critical at the same time as saying, hey, you guys, you got to watch it. Like you need to just temper the expectations.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's perfect. And why wouldn't you? There's so many times we talk about it all the time about trying to find something to watch. This is good. This is good enough to sit down and you're not going to, like you said earlier, you're not going to feel like I wasted 2 hours of my life because I've done that multiple times.
You will. You'll love it. Yeah.
It'll be fine. I made my wife.
A roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. I made my wife watch it and she hates, at the end of it, this is really funny. She says, I don't ever want to watch any more movies where people are punching and kicking and stabbing each other. But I did like it. That's what she says. So
see, and that goes to our point. Like, it's not one you're going to ever watch again, but you'll enjoy it the first time.
Correct. Love it. That's it for this week. But I am with you always. Look for me in the cloud at Popcorn Priest. I love movies and would love it if you'd share the love. Share this with the movie lover in your life. Another way to support the show is by throwing a few shekels at the priest by visiting patreon.com/Popcorn Priest and see what extra perks you can enjoy. If you made it this far, go give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I command thee. As always, thanks for listening. And thanks to my special guest, Dan Sacklunch the Coolish. Always a pleasure, my
Always
man.
a pleasure. Always a pleasure, brother. Love the pod and looking forward to doing more, man.
Yeah, and that's what movies are for, man. Have good times. Have good times with good people and chatting about it. It's good. That's why I do this.
Absolutely.
And remember, when you watch movies, you can pop off, pop in, or pop out, but always bring the popcorn.